Yeah, okay. So we're going to start with the song Happy, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise. And for me, it's an affirmation. I like to sing it sometimes if I'm not feeling so great. So I'd love for you all to stand with us and sing along.
Light of love is shining in my eyes. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. A little birdie told me, she said, life is so sweet. As I listen to her song, I know I am complete. I have all the keys to love, joy, and peace. The power is and love will increase. Together, I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. And I know the light of love is shining in my eyes. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. And I know the light of love is shining in my eyes. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Feel it? Feel it. Yeah. All right.
You're going to sing another song?
In a minute.
All right. Stay standing. You're not allowed to sit down right away. Okay. Just stay standing and meet the person next to you. Turn to meet the person next to you. This is unity. This is a unity community. All right.
I like to see that some people actually cross the aisle. We need more of that in this country.
Okay.
All right, we do like to remind you to silence your cell phones. You don't have to turn them off, but if you could silence them so we don't hear that joyful noise during the service. Then also want to remind you of sharing this experience out into the world digitally. So we invite you to do it by word of mouth, but also do it digitally. So if you have the capability of sharing our live stream right now, whether you're in the room with us here or watching us via live stream, if you can share this to your page on whatever outlet you'd like to do that on, that helps us out in a big way, not only because other people get to see it, but the algorithms of Facebook and Twitter and these other platforms actually boost you to more people when more people are engaged with that particular event. So the more you share it, the more it'll get shared over the platform. Are we taking questions?
No.
Yes. Steve, where are you? Come to me after the service. I can show you how to make your life more difficult. Okay. What's next?
Yeah. I want to thank our Spanish-speaking friends that are sharing this service with us. And of course, all of you out there that are picking it up on live stream. We appreciate having your energy here. You see, the world is moving, whether it looks like it is or not, but it is moving toward that divine New Age awareness where we all become, once again, brothers and sisters in life, sharing all the good and helping out in all the difficult times. So that's what we're about doing at Unity.
I just learned that.
Okay. See?
Glad you said that. I had no idea.
And you're You're an ordained minister?
I'm an ordained minister, but it was a sort of shady school.
What?
Online school. It only took 4 hours. It wasn't too bad.
4 hours.
Yeah.
You know how long I went to school?
Like 40 years.
No, yes, I'm telling you.
Still in school.
I'm just now getting it.
Okay, good.
You did it online in 4 hours.
4 hours.
Wow, you're amazing, man.
Yeah.
See, you were just born in the right generation when you had all this technology at your fingertips. Okay, now tell me, why couldn't you work my video this morning at the 9 a.m. service?
That's
What was
a
wrong?
whole long story, but I actually had to rebuild a sound system downstairs this weekend, and there's a lot going on. We had some rentals. I couldn't get in here to work on it, so yeah. There's a lot happening here. That's a good thing. That also means we're very busy.
That's
so
right.
Just accept some things won't be working. That's part of life. You notice the screen is not working because that projector blew up for the second time this month, and I just don't care right now.
And don't suppose that ministers don't have problems. We have a lot of problems, but we don't take them seriously, do we?
No, we just let things like this.
That's right.
unfixed,
Hey.
and that's fine.
So we give the problem to you.
Yeah. So if you have a crick in your neck tomorrow from looking to the left, that's technology's fault, not mine.
All right, you're out of here. Let's
Okay.
go.
No. I'm going to do some announcements
Okay,
now.
go ahead.
We do want to remind you that we have a new yoga instructor that is doing yoga on Wednesday evenings. Is Francois here anywhere? All right, well, Francois is our new yoga instructor, so if you haven't partaken in that experience, it might be time to check that out again and be a part of that. Happens, I believe, right before the Wednesday meditation. Okay, tomorrow starts the Q process class, which you definitely want to be a part of. If you're the type of person, which I know you are, that has sort of stuff happening in the background of your consciousness that's currently affecting your life and your decisions, it's sort of that unawareness that's going on. A lot of us have baggage from our childhood or for our early adulthood. These events that are still affecting us today, and we don't necessarily know what they are or how they are. The Q process class is designed to go in and sort of mine those issues, vet them out so we can clear them out of our shadow. So if you're familiar with shadow work, it's a lot of shadow work in that class. That's going to be led by Steve, who's a powerful teacher. You want to be on board with that. So be a part of that process. You can check that out in the lobby, more information there. February 1st, I'm starting a class called 90%, which I like to call an abundance class, which is sort of a whole life reboot as it pertains to our lack of consciousness and getting more abundance into our lives, as sort of observing how people are living today, and just saw that we're all a little bit off course, and we need to reprogram our minds as it pertains to stuff, things, money, and abundance. So that's a 7-week class. It's going to be very powerful, starting on Saturdays, February 1st. What else we got here? Santisha will be speaking next week. She was going to have a 2-week vacation, but she's been here almost every day on her vacation. So she said she might as well be speaking next Sunday anyway. So she will be speaking next Sunday, and maybe she'll get a real vacation after Easter or something like that. All right. After this talk, I will be meeting with whoever's interested in the back corner over there to further a discussion about membership in Unity, what that looks like, how that comes about. If you're interested in membership, you'll hear a little bit more about that in the talk, but we'll be meeting in the back corner over there immediately after this service. If you want to grab a snack and come join us, I'd love to have you do that. Okay, I think that's all the announcements. You'll see more of me later.
Good morning. So, this song, you know, when there's so much going on in the world that we feel like we're just this one person, we can't do much in all of the things that are happening these days. But this song is really about, we each get to do our own work, and that's the seed we get to plant, that's the difference we get to make, and that ripples out. So, yeah, work on our own souls this morning.
Tuning it up here, I think.
Let me walk to the banks of the river of love, where the current runs deep, baptized in the one, where there's no separation and the light is all we see. Honoring all our differences and love will set us free. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on.
my soul.
I see the blessings of the past. It's time to requalify. Let's not forget, but learn to forgive. God knows we gotta try. It's my responsibility to heal the wounds in me.
Compassion, faith, and hope, and love, and truth will set us free. Sing with us. Mother, Father, God,
There's a healing going on.
Mother, Father, God,
There's a healing going on.
Mother, Father, God,
There's a healing going on. I said,
oh, you rock my soul. Mother, Father,
God, there's a healing going on.
Mother, Father, God,
There's a healing going on.
Mother, Father, God,
There's a healing going on. I said,
oh, you rock my soul.
I said,
Oh, you rock my soul.
I said,
Oh, you rock my soul.
There's a healing going on. You feel it? Yeah. Ah, that's a lame answer. All right. I'm not even going to address that. It doesn't even deserve a response from me. All right. Who can tell me what the golden rule is? Anyone? Do unto others. There's a little bit more after that, but that was actually the same response I got last night. Just do unto others. So there's sort of this idea that I just do whatever I want unto anyone I want at any point in time. There is more to that statement, but we'll get to that. All right. Next question. Who here, without even the slightest deviation, actually lives the golden rule? I would like to follow you people around through one average day and check up on that. Good for you. If you're pulling that off, I'm proud of you. I am not quite 100% doing it. I'll admit to that. I'm not perfect. I did break some stuff earlier today, and I did blame other people. So Jack's the easy person to blame, so that's usually who I blame. Anyway, so I'm sure we all make a concerted effort to try to live the golden rule, but by and large, I would imagine it's very unlikely that anyone's really doing it 100% of the time here in this room or even in this world today. But some people may actually be. But I do believe our co-founders, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, were the co-founders of our Unity movement. I do believe that they lived the golden rule 100% of the time. They sort of exemplified what that would look like. They role modeled what that would look like, and they strongly encouraged all of us to endeavor to do the same, which was put into writing many times over in their books and their letters that they wrote about their path, which was also put into writing more concisely in what was called Unity's 32 Statements of Faith, which is sort of a manifesto that they wrote of what the Fillmores believed to be true, about what they believed to be true about Christianity, religion, their lives, how they lived it. And also, it was their intention for us as Unity students for how to live our lives. So there are 32 of these statements, and here's statement of faith number 25. They said, "We believe that the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, should be the standard of action between men." Now, just because they used the word men, I don't want you women to think you're off the hook here. If you know anything about history at the time they were writing, around the 1910s and 20s, men referred to all people. We might reword that differently today, but women, you're not off the hook. So the golden rule can be found in just about every religion and every faith that is on the planet. But the quote they have specifically here is from Matthew in the New Testament of the Bible. So this actually comes from Jesus, who was giving his Sermon on the Mount at that time, which in some ways is also a manifesto about his life and our journey back to Christ consciousness as individuals as well. So here's exactly how he put it. From Matthew 7:12, "In everything do to others as you would have them do to you, for this is the law and the prophets." This wording might be a little bit different than you're used to because I use the New Revised Standard Version of the Bible. Most people have heard this from the King James Bible, which is a little bit more older language. All right, so now I'm going to ask you a little more difficult questions, so really study what's going on up here. What are the two most important words up there? And I'll give you a hint, they're next to each other. I appreciate you trying. I do, because last time I talked about this, no one said anything. In everything. In everything are the two most important words up there. And it's funny because whenever you ask someone what the golden rule is, they usually start where we did today with do unto others and skip the part that says in everything do unto others. So what's wrong with that, you might say? So we get to the meat of it, we get to the do unto others, we get the point. Can you see how leaving out the words in everything actually softens the statement? Without the words in everything, it gives us room to sort of apply it as we see fit or as we are, what is convenienced for us. The way we say, you know what, this works for me, this is how I will apply it. I will do unto others who are deserving, who are like me, and who are not annoying. That's usually how we apply the golden rule. And I will do it only when they are deserving, like me, and not annoying. So that really makes a finite group of people that we do the golden rule with, which highlights the hypocrisy of the human condition. I would imagine most of us here are 100% on board with the golden rule until it inconveniences us or makes us uncomfortable. Which reminds me of something I once heard someone say that really stuck with me. It stuck with me so much that I have no idea who said it. So the person who said it didn't stick with me, but what they said stuck with me. And you're going to find out why here. This is what they said. Christians will do everything they can to save a child from being aborted, but when that child grows up to be gay, they couldn't care less what happens to it. Now you see why that statement stuck with me. I've thought about that a lot since then because it really is an impactful statement. And this, of course, is a very controversial statement, which is partially why it's stuck in my mind. There's not a lot of settings you could just blurt this out and not have someone attack you from some side or the other. So I'm not going to go into what is right or what is wrong about this statement, but I do think it does a good job in somewhat of a shocking way of pointing out the relationship we have with the golden rule and the hypocrisy we have around it. When it is convenient and when it is comfortable, we find it applicable. But when it is not, we tend to just ignore it, which is really what we do with anything we don't understand. And for me personally, that is taxes. Anybody else in that boat with me? Many times in my life, I have made a concerted effort into trying to understand taxes, only to discover that the more I learn about it, the less I actually know. Is anyone else in that boat? Come on. I gotta know I'm not alone. Mostly just this side. So my non-tax friendly people over here, so this talk is just for you. Everyone else who understands taxes is over here. I don't know how that worked out. So this has been a very frustrating process in my life. So my solution is that I have just ignored them for the last 20 years, and that has worked out pretty well. It's worked out pretty well. I've actually discovered that by not doing taxes, I wind up with a lot more money in my pocket, so it's a win-win. You don't trust me on that? Actually, my way of ignoring them is by having other people do them for me. Who else is in that boat? You've just given up and you say, someone else who understands this thing, just do it for me. I came to this conclusion probably about a decade and a half ago when I just finally threw my hands up in the air because I accepted the reality that there are one of two things happening around this issue. Either I am not intelligent enough to ever understand taxes, or taxes have been designed so that I will never understand them. One of those is true. Either case results in me not doing my own taxes. That's just the way it is. And as long as I don't understand them, they remain inconvenient and uncomfortable for me. So I prefer to ignore them as much as possible, which gives us some insight, and probably a red flag at the IRS right now on my tax returns, but anyway, it gives us some insight as to why we see so many people ignoring the golden rule. What if the reason we don't practice the golden rule to its full extent is because we don't really understand it? Consider the possibility that all of us assume we understand, but in actuality we avoid it because deep down we don't really get it. I'll try to prove my point with an example. So the statement is, do unto others as we have others do unto us in all things. So, does this mean that if you like to receive hugs, really long, close, tight, awkward hugs, that you should give those same types of hugs to everyone you meet? Yes or no? Exactly my point. There's some confusion there. We would think that the golden rule is saying, yes, if that's the type of hug you like, give that hug to everyone, no matter what they like. And that is the exact problem I once ran into, not a hug issue, but that issue around that idea at a human resources training at the MGM Grand Hotel in Las Vegas about 10 years ago when I was an employee there. The trainer was talking about all the ways we should or should not interact with coworkers and guests at the hotel, which culminated in the trainer saying this: it's really quite simple when you get down to it, just follow the golden rule. Little did the trainer know that she had a self-proclaimed masochist in the class that day. A very confident and outspoken masochist at that, who actually made a great point when he blurted out, well, I am a masochist, so the golden rule doesn't apply to me. I like suffering, pain, and humiliation, which would be horribly inappropriate, if not illegal, to do unto others. Well played, my friend. Who could argue with that statement? That's sort of a checkmate and game over for the golden rule that's just been wiped out for all the rest of time. Except I will tell you who can and did argue with that statement: this guy. Yeah, I don't let stuff like that go. But, and rightly so, that was not the time and place to have a conversation about masochism and Bible spiritual teachings in that setting. And it's unfortunate that the teachers shut us down because it was really starting to get interesting in that classroom, but we got shut down. But during our brief exchange that we had there, I realized a grave misunderstanding that many people must unknowingly have about the golden rule. And it all centers around this word: you. As you would have them do unto you. And the ego says, oh, I get it. It's all about me. The golden rule's all about me. It's about what I want, what I like, what I believe to be right, what I believe to be appropriate, real, normal, acceptable, and true. That's what's it about. You equals me. That's what the ego says. If you don't like what I like, then there is something wrong with you. If you don't view the world from the same microscopic perception I view the world from, then something is wrong with you, and therefore the golden rule doesn't apply to you. And that is why religion so often has gotten off course throughout history, because the original intent was inclusivity and understanding between all of us. But humans inject an egotistical identity of me into everything they come in contact with, so they take a spiritual message that was designed to be all about we, and they change it to be about me. It happened thousands of years ago, and it is happening today over and over again. Many of us show up on our spiritual journey looking for what I can get out of it. What is in this for me? And that is actually a natural and healthy starting point for a spiritual journey. Most of us have suffered a loss, or we are in pain, and we're looking for something to fill that void. We're looking for something for me, and that's perfectly good. That's what starts your journey. But the issue arises from the fact that many of us never actually evolve out of that place. We stay on our spiritual journey continually thinking about how can I get more for me, my evolution, my growth, my prosperity, my abundance, my things. We show up to churches, synagogues, temples, mosques, retreat centers, classes, weekend seminars. We show up with the mindset of what is here for me? How can this experience facilitate what I want? But the types of organizations and groups that I just mentioned survive on a we mentality, not a me mindset. And there is an unsustainable tipping point when the amount of people showing up for me outweighs the amount of people showing up for we. And at that tipping point, it creates an energy vacuum that cannot be filled. Churches, spiritual centers, faith-based organizations around the world today are closing at an alarming rate. And just to give you an example of that, this year, the LDS Church, the Mormon Church, had its smallest growth ever. Now listen to what I just said. They're not in decline yet, but they've had their smallest growth ever, which is amazing because they're still one of the most successful religions on the planet today. They're still actually growing where most are declining, but they've seen their smallest growth yet. So something is up. We are at a point in history when far too many of us continually show up for me instead of we. We sit on the outskirts of these groups and organizations, only dipping our foot in just enough to get what we want to get out of it, and then we sort of make a nice exit out of the back of the room, making sure not to commit ourselves to it, because if we did, we would then have to be held accountable to the community. So we stay on the outskirts so that we don't get recognized, we don't get pulled in. And this is us just making energy withdrawals without making any deposits. You see how that works? And that's how we create the energy vacuum in these places that begin to collapse, because they cannot fill that void on their own. There's just too much energy being withdrawn. But there is a shift taking place right now at Unity of Boulder that we are recognizing as a movement towards a commitment and ownership in the community itself. And that is a shift from the me mentality to the we mentality. More people are coming to us looking for ways to give, to serve, to be a part of the community itself, and to support it as one of the community. It's very different to just be in a community versus being one of the community. You talk to any minister or spiritual teacher or leader, and they can tell you pretty much the same thing. You recognize that people are on a path. They come in pain to a place like this or any other place that's similar, and they find that their life starts to get better. They learn some tools, some teachings, they start to expand their awareness, and they get to a point where they go, I'm doing pretty good now. Good luck, everyone. Then the next person shows up in pain who's looking for some help, and where is the energy to help them? It keeps exiting out the door when things get pretty good, not sticking around to help the next person who's in that same place they used to be in. So around here, we're noticing that more and more people are asking about membership and what it takes to become a member, to become part of this community. And that is really what the Golden Rule is all about. And that is how Unity became what it is today, with over 500 churches around the world and thousands of congregants and members just like us meeting at this exact time on this day. It's not just about fulfilling the needs of the individual. It's about what is best for the whole, the collective, for everyone involved. That is the part that is missing from most people's understanding of the rule. So I want to give you an example. I had a minister friend I was talking to, and we were just sort of batting ideas back around about boards. Every minister has a board that helps them run the church. And he's going through this process, and he had this person that was very outspoken on his board. He used to be very controversial about the things that are happening. And they got into a discussion about money issues the church was having and how they needed to increase giving or something to make that happen. And the person that was very outspoken said, well, you know what? I don't give to this church anyway, so I don't know how this applies to me. And the minister was shocked to find out that someone sitting on his board has never actually contributed anything financially to the organization itself. And he realized that that was on him because he had no system in place to make sure people winding up on his board actually were committed to the church and invested in the church in every way they could be, just as much as the minister was. So fast forward, I was in Las Vegas, and I was talking to one of our most committed congregants who was around all the time serving in every way, shape, or form, and I told this person that story. It's sort of like, wow, could you believe this would happen? And the person turned to me and said, well, I've never given anything to this church. And I almost fell over onto the floor. This is a person that was there almost every day, helping us out every single way, who I know was pretty well off financially, wasn't a financial leader, said, I've never given to this church. And my head I could not believe that that was the case. Now, a side note, this person did wind up going to my 90% class and saw the world from a different perspective around finances and abundance and how that works, and actually became one of our biggest contributors after the class. But that is a realization that was happening at that time, that we don't truly understand this golden rule, how it applies to a collective versus an individual-to-individual perspective. Now, I believe if Jesus actually spoke English when he was speaking the Sermon on the Mount, he would have chosen more specific English words to help us understand the truth that he was actually saying instead of the words that it was translated into later on. So this is what I believe he would have actually said. In everything, do to others as y'all would have them do to y'all, for this is the law and the prophets. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about y'all. Right? What is best for the whole? Not what is best for me, not as what is best for you, what is best for the whole? What is the highest and best for everyone involved and everything involved? That is what we should do. And if we don't know what that is, then we need to start meditating more until we open up to an awareness that is more expanded than just what I think is right for me and mine right now. I start to open up to a consciousness that starts to look at what is best for the whole? What is the best for everything involved? And I had a person, after I gave this talk last night, come up to me and said, I struggle with this because I'd really try to give what's best for everyone, to give them the highest and best in everything I do, and I don't necessarily see the returns on that investment. And I said, part of the golden rule that many people misunderstand is that we all need to be spanked. What's highest and best for all of us is not to just be running around like free jerks. Are you following me? There are limitations that actually help the collective. Sometimes we have to apply the golden rule by putting limitations on people around us from doing self-harm or to harming others. The golden rule isn't always about just doing something fluffy and neat for somebody else. Sometimes it is actually creating a safe environment for everyone involved, which sometimes isn't the most fluffy and neat solution. Is that making sense? Yes. Oftentimes we think about the golden rule, it's all about, oh, I should open the door, or I should help them across the street or something like that. Sometimes it's just saying no to somebody, or saying, I'm going to help you through this. It's going to be difficult and hard, but I'm going to help you in a direction that helps you through in the proper manner. So think about that when you're thinking about the golden rule. What is the highest and best for everything might not be what feels the best in the short term, but it creates the highest and best for all people in the long term. And that's where meditation becomes so important, is to be able to step yourself out of the situation of the chaos in that moment with little thinking, with a little mind, step into that higher awareness and say, there's something bigger at work here. I'm only here to facilitate that unfolding without my own personal perception of how this is supposed to go. So we have a new membership system here at Unity of Boulder that is designed to facilitate our growth from the we mentality, or from the me mentality to the we consciousness. And it's not just a membership system as you do at your club or somewhere else, just be a member. It's a process to help us grow spiritually together as a community. So I hope you'll join me after this talk. We're going to gather up in that corner over there if you're interested in membership or you have questions what that is or how that works. And that is the truth as I experience it. Thank you. Let's do a little meditation. Let's do a little meditation. I feel like we got plenty of time. I like my shorts talk and sweet. So I like my talks short and sweet. I like my words like Yoda, backwards and inside out. All right. So do a short meditation. If you're comfortable with that, I'd like you to close your eyes and just attempt to sit with your spine straight. Take a deep breath and just let everything release. Take another deep breath and let everything else release with it. All the nonsense and the chaos of our lives that we drag around with us. It's possible just to take a deep breath and let it release. To find peace of mind in a moment, in a situation, even in a conflict. To recognize that the golden rule is not just about my immediate wants, my desires, my likes and dislikes. It's not even necessarily about your wants, your likes and dislikes. It's really about the whole. How do we bring about more peace and harmony for everyone and everything involved? As a representative of the whole, I put forth actions and decisions on behalf of the whole. Which means I've got to find a way to step myself out of the me. I've got to find a way to look bigger, more expanded, with more understanding, which often requires me to take more time. If I'm feeling stressed and agitated in a moment, that is not the right time and place to put forth a decision or a direction. Those are spiritual tools calling me to slow down. That agitation is telling me to step back, to take a breath, to reevaluate, to tap in, and to not return until I can show up with a we solution. And it's moments like this, coming together with like-minded individuals, that we tap into that we consciousness of something greater than ourselves, realizing that from my perspective of what I thought was right and true was in fact very small, closed-minded, selfish. If I can really expand myself into the consciousness of all things in all times, there's a freeing effect that washes over the body. To recognize that whatever this stressor is or this situation that currently faces me in this life is merely a blip on the grand beauty of the cosmos unfolding around me. Not that it is not important or needs to be dealt with, but it's not worthy of my illness, my fear, my judgment, my anger, my disappointment. Nothing could be worthy of that when there's so much beauty surrounding me. Thousands and thousands of years have led to this moment. And thousands of years will come after it.
What could possibly justify me being angry, disappointed, fearful? If I can just be silent enough to allow this illusion to melt away for a moment, I can begin to see. It's okay. And if right now it doesn't feel okay, I just have to know it's going to be okay. As we go forth now from this time of silence together, this time of reflection, insight, and tapping in, we hold on to this peace, this stillness, and this comfort, and take it with us throughout this day, throughout this week, throughout this month, knowing that it is our friend and our companion that's always there ready to be with us, as long as we're just aware. And so it is. Amen.
It's wonderful to just sit here and take in this beautiful information, especially since I know that his is one of the most authentic voices you may ever hear. I'm not just bragging on him because he's my son, but I see him doing things that nobody will ever see to make other people's lives more comfortable or easier under the most stressful situations. I see him doing this stuff around the church and outside. I see him chopping ice to make it easier for people to get in and open up a parking space. I see him cutting back weeds on a Sunday when he's got to give a talk. He said that, they're growing out all over the place. People are going to run into them. Stuff like that. So you just heard a very authentic voice. What he's saying to you, he lives. So I'm really proud to be able to sit here and take it in. So thank you for that. And I want to thank all of you that really came across for this holiday season and helped us raise the income and got us out of a steep decline. We're not fully out of it, but it was really a beautiful sharing. So many of you came through and gave financially a little bit more than you ordinarily do. We know this because we look at last year's Christmas services, and we look at last year's income, and we look at how we've cut back on our budget and stuff like that. So we're tracking what's going on, and you really did very well. So many of you really helped out financially. So keeping that in mind, let's take our offerings in our hands, bring our offering people down. And just take a moment to realize the benefit of being able to hear the truth that makes life work so much better. And as we take this offering in our hands and we bless it with this offering statement, feel the gratitude going out. Divine love is my true life and my conscious destiny. Therefore, I give. Together, please. Divine love is my true life and my conscious destiny. Therefore, I give.
So I'm here to introduce our next act, if you will. So you may know Heidi Alina as a drumming instructor and performer for African drumming, but you may not know that she's been a pianist. She's an award-winning pianist, and she's been studying since the age of 4. So she will be playing for us today. And she also has a new program called Feel and Heal Under the Piano, bathing your mind, body, and soul in the beauty of Chopin. This unique sound therapy creates opportunities for healing and cultivation of inner peace, balancing the emotional, mental, and physical bodies of children and adults alike. So if you'd like to learn more about that, please stop by in the lobby afterwards to speak with her. So if you'd like to come up, Heidi. And she will be playing the Chopin Berceuse today.